Excel and other spreadsheet applications can do a nice job of creating attractive tables and charts. It's up to us to make them look their absolute best, though. They should be readable, interesting, and show the required information, but not show extra information that doesn't matter. When you present data, think about what questions you're trying to answer and the patterns you're trying to show. Then use fonts and layouts appropriately to include and emphasize the elements that matter and exclude elements that don't. Also, ask yourself, who is your audience? Is this a quick overview presentation on a slide with the data backup elsewhere, or is it a written technical review where more in-depth data should be presented? Let's look at some of the charts we created earlier and see if we can improve upon them. For categorical column data, like the counts of the baseball positions, the relative sizes are easier to see at a glance if the data is sorted by size. This would not be something we would want to do for sequential data, like daily stock values or histogram bins, but it is more readable in this case. There should be a descriptive title, so I'll put one in that says baseball positions. It should also be big enough to read. If you need to change the font or font size, this can be done by selecting the title and changing it in the Home tab. There. Does this chart need a legend? If there are more than one data series, it does. But if the labels are already showing up in the data, as in this pie chart, then an extra legend is just noise, so remove it. For a graph, do you need or want grid lines? In a detailed technical presentation, it is easier to see the values if there are grid lines. But for quick overviews that are just emphasizing the trend, those extra lines look busy. What about the axis labels? I hate it when I look at a graph and can't tell what the numbers on the axis represent, so I would generally say put them there. But there are always exceptions. If the units are redundant somehow, they can be removed. The font size is a judgment call, but bigger is easier to read and draws attention. So take a look at your chart and see if it can be improved. Color is a similar issue. It just depends. Keep in mind that your chart may be printed in grayscale or viewed by someone who's colorblind. So if it's possible to distinguish groupings in additional ways, such as different shapes in scatterplots or using dashes in lines, it's a best practice to do so. The Format Data Series dialog has a number of options for changing the look of your graph. This was just a sampling of some of the modifications you can make to your charts to give them the impact you want in a professional presentation. The best way to learn is to just try things, to explore.